So our lead this hour coming from the Diva Department. The Diva Department. You heard me right. The Diva Department. Now, what is this story all about? Just buckle up. Is it true that one of the big-name receivers in the NFL is going to be repackaged before the late April NFL draft? Well, possibly multiple big-name receivers will be repackaged. This is not about Devontae Adams. Instead, it's about somebody else. If you didn't see this, maybe not. Mixed messages regarding the future of A.J. Brown with the Eagles. Now, the Eagles completely botched the end of their season. They played like absolute dogs at the end of the year, and we know that the storyline is Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown are besties. Oh, yeah, all the reporters, oh, yeah, they like each other a lot. Well, Brown rocked the boat, or the bird's nest, if you will, on a regular basis, which was good for talk radio, sideline meltdowns, locker room messages. AJ was asked recently about the possibility that he may be leaving Philadelphia. The rumor's been bouncing around. There's conflicting reports about that. He said, regarding the speculation, quote, "I don't know. Maybe they know something I don't know," he said of the noise. So let us discuss. The question, where do you see the Eagles going with A.J. Brown? So I've got horticulture, guidebook, and obstacle course. And we'll put all these things together, and we're going to pump the brakes, is what we're going to do. We're going to pump the brakes. So A.J. Brown, let's put it this way. He can be yours if the price is right. And while it is not a guarantee that he's going to be traded, I don't know how this is a 85, 90% chance he's traded. If the Eagles are able to entice a team such as the Chargers or the Steelers or the Chiefs to take A.J. Brown and get a hefty return of scratcher tickets, I would be surprised if the Eagles do not trade A.J. Brown. They can work something out. It's a cat and mouse game. And for the Eagles, the carrot on the stick would be A.J. Brown. Since Nick Sirianni was not whacked like we suspected he would be, still puzzling how he kept his job, considering he was bad at his job, historically bad, at the end of last season. But Sirianni kept his job. He's returning. And so if he's back, you got rid of the coordinators. Well, what else do you need to get rid of? You've got to do some horticulture and cut out the dead wood. A.J. Brown is believed to have caused locker room chasms. And there's a rift in the Eagle locker room. Loose lips sink locker room ships. Now, whether or not he was the one leaking it or people were leaking things about him, there is no debate that it happened. So he knows something's going on. And what is my evidence that A.J. Brown knows something's going on and his days are numbered in Philadelphia? He did take a hiatus from the social media platform called X. He also tore apart his Instagram account, tore all the Eagle-related content, or most of it, took it all down. So those are usually dead giveaways. Those are dead giveaways. Something's going on. All right, now page 2. Headline from Kansas City, follow-up AFC title game. Do you remember when Travis Kelce had a bit of a hissy fit with the Ravens kicker, Justin Tucker? You remember the helmet? They tossed the helmet, the practice balls, and the kicking tee. It was all captured on cell phone, grainy cell phone video of Travis Kelce having this meltdown. He was unhappy, and everything was recorded for posterity's sake. So Travis Kelce commented on that. He said that Justin Tucker violated a, quote, unwritten pregame rule. Here we go again. I thought this was just a baseball story. I'm good for 2 unwritten rules of the game in baseball monologues during the season, but rarely do we get them in football. But Travis Kelce said the violation of the unwritten pregame rule. Here's a little taste of that audio from some podcast. Everyone's got a podcast. I guess he's got one too. Here's Kelce.
If you're trying to go onto the other team's designated area, you kind of stay out of their way. You don't interfere with what they have going on.
That is the unwritten rule.
That's the unwritten rule. If you want to be a about it, you keep your helmet and your football and your kicking tee right where the quarterbacks are warming up and they're dropping. Eyes are looking left and they got a helmet down by their feet.
It's actually kind of dangerous, really. But
like, if you're not going to pick that up, I'll happily move that for you.
Okay. It's Kelce and Kelce. It's like a bad morning show from the 90s. Anyway, Travis Kelce there said, don't make me as the bad guy. He went on to say he was poking the bear. Now, Patrick Mahomes, who gets paid to go on a radio station in Kansas City and say absolutely nothing of meaning, he was asked about the Tucker incident, and he said that Tucker's the only kicker who has violated, yet again, the unwritten rule. The unwritten rule during his NFL career. Take a listen.
I've had like 7 years of kind of doing that same warm-up routine, and there's only been, I think, like 3 occasions where there's been a kicker that wasn't because you usually talk to the guys. There had been a kicker that wasn't necessarily moving out the way, or you weren't kind of sharing the field in the right way. And I mean, it was in Baltimore all 3 times. So he does that little stuff, I think, to try to get under our skin. And I asked him to move his stuff, and he got up and moved it, I think, 2 inches, but didn't move it out of the way. And I was going to kind of let it slide, but Travis kind of got it and moved it for me. And then after that, I wasn't going to let him put it back down. So it's something that we move on. I mean, I have a lot of respect for him as a player and as a kicker. One of the best kickers of all time, probably the best kicker of all time.
Yeah, we don't need the niceties at the end. The meat of it, all right, the meat of it was what we got. All right, I don't know why they left that in there. It's a bad job by whoever edited that. But listen, we have a he said, because Justin Tucker is like, it was all in fun, kind of playing around and all that. I love that we're debating the movement of practice balls and a helmet and a kicking tee. But are you on the side on this one? Are you on the side of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, or on the side of the Ravens kicker Justin Tucker in this rhubarb? So I'm going to stand with the idiot kicker. I think it's hilarious that we are at the part of the story now where we're talking about unwritten rules. So if it's unwritten, you can't be arrested for it, right? You can't be. I mean, how much trouble can one be in if it's unwritten? Imagine a police officer pulls you over and says, "Well, sir, you know how fast you're going." I said, "Well, yeah, I was going a little fast." And then there's some other crime you committed. But there's no law for that. Well, no, it's an unwritten rule. I just decided it's an unwritten rule, and that's it. I find it amusing, right? This hullabaloo, and this is right out of the guidebook of gamesmanship. And Justin Tucker was using tactics to gain an advantage, and Mahomes knew what he was doing. He was trying to get under the skin. Now, did it work? Well, it didn't work in the fact that the Ravens lost the game, but they lost the game because Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers sucked at a time you cannot suck, and they puked all over themselves, along with others. But that had nothing to do with Justin Tucker, the kicker. Those are 2 separate things. Kansas City did not win this game because they were getting revenge, payback, bulletin board material against the Ravens kicker. That didn't happen. The Chiefs won because they played a cleaner game than the Ravens. All right, last word here. So let's move over to a fun conversation point on talk radio. Concussions. Oh, yes, and the concussion protocol. Into the blue tent you go, into the blue tent. Now, we read that despite that massive concussion settlement, this goes back 9 years or so, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, give or take. So within the last 10 years, there was this massive concussion settlement. And you probably know about it if you pay attention to this kind of stuff. You've heard about it, whatnot. Maybe you read something online about it. But there's a news story out that says the NFL routinely fails to provide the money and medical care that the lawsuit indicated they would provide for players suffering from dementia and CTE. Now, under terms of that massive multi-billion-dollar agreement, the players were entitled to get some kind of monetary reward if they were deemed to be suffering from brain problems, dementia, neurological problems because of their playing career. However, the word is that the settlement's definition of dementia requires more impairment than the standard textbook definition used in the United States. Ergo, according to the story bouncing around, whether it's true or not, that's up for you to decide, but the story says that several doctors who evaluated players claimed that if they used the settlement definition, the NFL settlement definition, in their regular care, they would routinely fail to diagnose people who have dementia with dementia because it doesn't meet that threshold for payment. All right, so how surprising is the report that the NFL is finagling over concussion settlement payments? So this is why you have a flotilla of lawyers. Of course, it's not surprising at all. The NFL is no different than every big conglomerate. They try to pay as little as possible. It's like you ever needed to use your insurance, and you have to put a claim in, and then you have to jump through all kinds of hoop-de-hoops to make it happen. And really what's going on here, the way I interpreted the story, is that the players that have dementia, in order to collect the money while they have dementia, they have to go through an obstacle course, right? It's all the fine print at the bottom. You got to crawl a little bit, do a tightrope walk while you got your dementia. You got to do a little laundry basket throw, like they have in those obstacle courses. You have the ring toss, the hula hoop, the whole thing. And so, hey, the NFL vetted the agreement, and the people that were suing took the agreement because the lawyers, of course, got paid. They always get paid. And they're the ones that win in all these things. And everything else, water will seek its own level. We'll see how it goes.